are the luckiest person learning SQL. Let me say that again. You are the luckiest person learning SQL because today we're not only going to do troubleshooting and error checking and all that jazz, and we're going to show you how AI is going to change your life by just installing or using a free platform. You are a lucky person to be learning SQL. And let's get into it. Welcome back to the bonus day. I told you did not want to miss the bonus day. And today might be the only day you actually need on this series. I'm Crystal Bray, your coach. I am so happy to be here. Today we're going to do troubleshooting. You need to troubleshoot. We're going to do error checking. You have to error check. And we're going to talk about data cleanliness, which as a former data scientist, data analyst, product operations specialist, I cannot speak more highly of clean your data or just ensure it's clean. You can actually get bad results from not cleaning your data. And you can think you're right and you're doing the right thing and end up having really bad results. Someone comes back and says, did you know you had a whole bunch of null values that was causing the averages to be severely low? Or did you know that your data was actually using the spaces in zip code and you're only getting zip 2 instead of zip 3? There's so many reasons why you want to clean your data. But that's not today's star of the show. I just have to tell y'all, even just looking this stuff up, I was just like, I'm jealous. I'm jealous I had to learn to code or to SQL before AI existed. You have the best advantage. We're going to talk about that today. It's an amazing situation. There's no reason not to learn SQL. Okay. There's no reason. So yeah, let's get into it. As you all know, one of my mentors likes to go to the whiteboard and I love it because sometimes you just need to see it written out. Nothing too crazy, very simplistic. We're going to talk about SQL Common Errors. So just some common errors in SQL. Misspelling. As you know, we did a lot of select from where. We did a ton of it. And if you misspell any of those words, it will not work. You will get errors abound from simply misspelling select from where. I cannot tell you how many times I have misspelled these things. You misspell them, you're typing too fast, and don't get comfortable in the code and start just coding without checking throughout. You will have errors lines and lines above, which you have to go through, and nothing syntactically is wrong. Like everything is in the proper place and doing the right thing. You just forgot an S several times over. Okay. Brackets and quotes. So parentheses, like I said, those matter where they live. So an alias has a with statement, is with as open parenthesis. Then you do a complete query. Then you close the parenthesis. If you forget to do that, errors will abound. Okay. So just brackets, parentheses, as you saw, you'll either get, here's a text string, single quotes, and you don't close it out. It'll change all the colors if you're lucky. Some databases do not have color changing. They don't have like color coding. So you actually can't tell until you hit execute. And then of course, yes, errors abound. Errors abound. They're everywhere. Ordering matters. Select from where is your friend. Also think select from where. That's how you should go. And then after select from where, there's group by. And then there's the qualifier having. Remember, it's like the function that can filter when you have an aggregate function. So having, and then order by. This is kind of like sort. At the very end, you sort. So you just want to know select from where. That's really the key. And then group by, having, order by. And I should have added on limit. In fact, let's do that. 1 second. Okay, we're back. So you need the limit function too. And it goes at the end. So this is just your clause order. And I just want you to be aware of that. And all this will be in the all of this will be in the SQL cheat sheet. So I'm going to link that. And in fact, we're going to use it today to go through these lessons because you don't have to learn this all by heart. Don't do it. In fact, people used to buy books on this stuff. So getting a free 12-page sheet without having to read a book, once again, you're winning. All day today, I'm saying you're winning, you're winning, you're winning. Okay. Aliases, like we did orders as O, right? Salespersons as S. They just make your life so much easier so you don't have to keep typing out the orders table. And in fact, when you get into a real database, they have these really long names to identify the table. It's like production table living in the schema of, yeah, you're going to want aliases. So even though on our examples, maybe you don't see the need all the way, when you get into your data table, you be like, I need an alias. Okay. Case sensitivity. Now, MySQL doesn't have a lot of case sensitivity issues, but other like PostgreSQL, other SQLs do. So I want you to be mindful about case sensitivity. So aside from misspelling names, you can also have the wrong case of a name, even if it's spelled correctly. So, so much, right? Let's go through some examples. Okay, I told y'all we're going to use the cheat sheet today. We're going to use the cheat sheet because it's amazing and it's going to give us everything we need, right? So, okay, misspelling. Select instead of select happens so easily. Like that is just a thing. Going back to SQL Fiddle, if you don't remember, SQL Fiddle is actually the table we're going to use. There's a link in the description. There's a database that I give you. It has the customers that you can have where customer ID, the name, the country, their active status or not, salesperson's name and region, products, name, category, and price. As you can see, smartphones are priced appropriately at the lower end of smartphones these days. Also orders themselves. So all the information that would come with an order, a customer ID, who bought the order, what is the product ID, who sold the product, when did they buy it, how much of it did they buy, and of course, how much is the total sale. So we have that all here for you to use. You do not have to download anything. You literally click the link and you get a free practice database to use on the internet. And just a reminder, SQL Fiddle is free. Before you put any of your data inside of there, before you put any of your company data inside of there, read their legal policy, their cookie policy, their privacy policy. Just to be very clear, those policies you can find at sqlfiddle.com. Scroll to the bottom, you see legal, cookie policy, privacy policy, and their legal policy together. So make sure to do that. Okay, let's get back. Okay, so common errors, as you saw. So let's do like a select. Well, let's do a select, like I said. Just a C, no T. We'll do a star. And then let's do from orders, right? As O. So everything else is perfect. Looking good, right? Let's execute. Womp, womp, womp. Okay. And luckily it says, check the manual for the right syntax. It's trying to give you what's happening here. In the olden days, and olden days means like months ago, sometimes still today, I would take this error. I'm just going to copy this error. And we're going to head on over to Google, our friend. Okay, so we're back. We see select with no T, not select, select. Star from, it doesn't work. You need the T, needs the T, and you hit execute. Okay, great. What's another error we can have? Another error we can have is that we can forget the quotes. We can forget the quotes. So let's select star from, let's do the customers table this time. And then let's do a where clause where status is equal to active. Now, as we all know, active in the customers table is a string. We call it text string. It's string. You might hear a string or text string. It's just a lingo for saying this is a text value, not a number value or a function itself, and that you need to have quotes around it. Okay, so we need quotes. I'm going to execute. It's not going to work. Unknown column, because it thinks active is either a column name, a proper column name, or it's a function. It's none of that. It's actually just a string. Now let me add in my single quotes here and we'll just rerun it. Okay, there you go. Now we have the table where everyone's active. So we're following along. We're just going through the cheat sheet, which you have access to if you downloaded it. Get your SQL cheat sheet, link in the description. Okay. Invalid statement order. So we know select from where, but what if we do, I'm just going to take this guy. What if we do this, right? Select where from. Now we know select from where works. And you have an error. So these are just common things you're going to see. And you're really close to getting the right answer. You're just off a little bit. So select from where is the order you want to go in. And like I said, on the cheat sheet, it'll say then group by, and then having, and then order by, and then limit. And so you want to just keep that flow going. If anyone remembers PIMDAs, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, that's kind of like this. It needs to have an order. So maybe whoever knew PIMDAs decided to design SQL. But there's no SQL PIMDAs version. So we can't remember it very easily. Okay. So let's do another one. And another one I'm going to do is actually we don't use aliases, right? We normally do as C and we do some stuff, but let's not. Let's do an inner join with the orders table and not even as O. And then we're going to just join it on. I'm going to show you how painful this is. So it's going to be customers dot customer ID. Imagine getting the S's mixed up, right? Orders dot order ID. And if you're trying this at home with me, which you should be, take a pause, try it out. You'll notice the little S's, they're everywhere, right? And that would just be for this. But then let's do a left join. And let's just, for the sake of it, do it on salespersons. Oh, with an S, all the S's. All right. And then we're just going to do another join on orders dot salesperson. Is it salesperson with just one S? No, let's check it real quick. With no S in that. Salesperson ID equal to salesperson ID. I just want you to know how painful that was for me to type. Not using aliases is not only hard on you, the more you get into real databases where they have longer names and structures, it just becomes almost incomprehensible to read. Now, does it work? Yes, it works fine, right? It works. But I could have easily just done as O, and then as C, and then it'd have been C here, O here, and then as S for salesperson's table, and O. I mean, just so much faster. It's clean. It's easier to look at. It's cleaner. It's all there. It's all the same information. So please use your aliases. Don't neglect them. We love them. We talked about case sensitive names. I'm not going to do it here because MySQL isn't very case sensitive. But if you do have another, database you use, just check on that. Check with your data team. Just ask them, like, are the column names case sensitive? Is there a lot of case sensitivity? If there is, they'll tell you. If there's not, they're like, oh, no, you're fine. Most likely, hopefully it's not. Speaking of joins, left join, right joins, inner joins, I have to just be mindful that you could join wrong, right? You can end up with either multiple rows because you have no key that you're actually joining on, or you're just using the wrong keys to join on and you have a lot of null values, right? So you won't find anything. So be mindful. One, take some time maybe to draw it out, like customers. I want them to join to orders, and I want to think about how to connect the keys together. Which key am I going to use? I'm going to use customer ID. And in fact, I used the wrong key. Who didn't catch that out there? We use customer IDs, error checking. Okay. By the way, that error right there that you just saw actually connected a customer ID to an order ID. And the only reason why it worked is because customer IDs and order IDs are both integers. And they're integers between like 1 and 5 and 1 and 9. So that's why that join worked, even though it wouldn't have worked in a normal database where you might have a unique ID for a customer and it could be including letters and numbers, and you would have an orders ID that could be very unique, maybe just numbers or something. So we got lucky there, but that was an error in our table. So if you caught that earlier, good job. Great job. Okay, so be mindful of that. That's another error we want to be mindful about. Now we're going to go back and kind of look at the cheat sheet here and look at data cleanliness. I love this topic. When you don't have clean data, there are downstream impacts. There could be errors, there could be inaccuracies in the analyses, and it even can lead you to making the wrong decision, which is like the ultimate error for data cleanliness, right? Beyond the fact that it just could be gruesome, there's like lots of spaces, there's taking up extra space when it's not clean. So a couple of really quick tips, probably the two biggest ones here are going to be the trim function. Now, this you can imagine why it's useful if a name is put into a system and someone just accidentally types a space or two spaces and then they type their name. Their name is correct, but in the system, it sees two spaces and those two spaces are characters. So when you go to compare names, look at first names, it'll have like some blanks somewhere. It depends on how you pull the data. You might, take a string and actually do a substring of a string and take the first three letters of someone's name. If you have two spaces at the front, you only get the first letter. Just an example. So we want to use what they call the trim function. The trim function. This will allow you to take care of any white spaces, we call them, in front or behind your actual column entry. So do a trim function if you think you might have some spacing things going on. Works really well for me at work as well when I'm looking at things that I know the data might not have gotten entered all the way. Great. The next one is cast. And this is something you can look up on the internet for the syntax, but cast is very important for making sure the date, for instance, is actually year, month, day, or just year, month. You might want to cast it as a full timestamp. And that gets a little more complicated, but when you see a couple errors come up, you're like, oh, I might need to cast it as the right type inside the column. So that'll come up. Now we've reached the moment you've probably all have been waiting for. This is one of the funnest things to think about this series is thinking about all the new technology and capabilities we have. Like I just told you, the old way would be Stack Overflow, Google search, look around, dig through, find the answer. As of like last year, the new way is ChatGPT and Claude. And not to be left out, Google Gemini, which you can get right from Google search. So best of both worlds, go to google.com, type in the question or the query, and you might get a Gemini answer out. Today, I'm going to use ChatGPT with our data that we've already done to kind of show you the power of it. If you've been here for 5 days with us, you know it's a little tricky. You might have gotten some things, the errors might have happened to you, might be a little confused, might be a little overwhelming, but watch what we do now. Okay, here you see ChatGPT. This is the interface. I have a free account, so I'm not paying for this account. This is not a paid ad or anything. I'm just using ChatGPT. Normally, I like Claude, but Claude I use for a little more creative work and kind of like a little bit of a personal consultant, assistant kind of way. Very different. ChatGPT actually use a lot more for analysis, to be honest. It's just, I don't know, quicker and easier at it. So pros and cons, try a couple out. A couple are still free out there. So take your time, try some out, see which one fits with how you use information. I'm going to take our list of not just table names. I'm going to take our list of tables and their columns. So I'm going to say tables and their columns. And I'm going to tell the GPT, I have a list of table names and their column parentheses. There are 4 tables. I'm literally using our table heads total. Can you give me 5 queries, 5 SQL queries to pull out the most interesting data insights? Now, I am doing this with you all raw, and you see spelling errors abound. Errors abound. This whole series, errors abound. That's what we should call it. I'm going to put this in here. This is my first time doing this ever. I normally have coded myself for stuff like this. And so this is new to me, new to you. We're doing it together. I'm going to see what happens. Okay, the salesperson table, the customers table, the orders table. We know that. Wow. I'm sorry, I'm making noise. This is really happening in real time. And I'm legit shocked. And so those sounds were real. Y'all, those sounds were real. Whoa. Okay. Let's try these out one by one. Now, although ChatGPT can give you answers, sometimes those answers are incorrect. I've had it give me incorrect answers many a times. Before you send this off to your boss, your colleagues, check it. And because we've gone through 5 days of SQL, you can now at least read this. Remember I said yesterday? That was the tip. You just need to know how to read it sometimes. And in reading it, we can just make sure it's going to be kind of what we want. So this first one says top customers by sales value. Now we did this ourselves, but let's see it now. Identify the customers who have contributed the most overall sales. So select C.name. We know that. Okay. As customer name, sum sales, as total sales. Okay. We can see that. That's an alias for that. That's a column. I like to break my columns up, but this is fine. Orders is O. Ooh. Customers C on on customer ID and customer ID. Great. Group by C name and then order by total sales descending and limit 5. That's just copy code. Man, they make it too easy. We're back in SQL Fiddle, y'all. And we're on to the future now. Wow. I don't think we ever did this. John Doe, I spent 2,000. Fatima has been 13. Okay. Emily Johnson, Carlos Garcia, Maria. top 5 customers. Really? You just kind of need, let's just do one more. Let me pull over now. Best selling products. Find out which products are the top sellers based on sales revenue. Okay, P.name makes sense. Some sales. Okay, orders, they're going to join it. Product ID, you've seen that before. Total sales, these are very simple, but we've seen these. So I think we're super comfortable. Let's add it in. Let's execute. Laptop, smartphone, desk chair, coffee maker, tablet. I didn't know coffee maker was up there. Got it. Wow. That's awesome. Okay. Now you might be saying, Crystal, can't we do anything more complicated with ChatGPT? This is why it's important that you kind of get the questions you want to ask or want to answer. So let's go back and ask it a different question. Let's see here. ChatGPT, thank you. I like to say thank you, y'all. Thank you for these queries. Can I see something a little more complex to show month over month sales with percentages and identify declining categories? Okay. So now I've asked it a question like you kind of maybe ask an analyst. Let's see what it does. There we go. Haha. Okay. Sure, here's a more complex query that shows month over month sales by product category, calculates the percentage of change from previous months, and identifies categories with declining sales. I just want y'all to know, we together did not need to know how to do any SQL query to ask ChatGPT that. Took the table name, all the columns in the table name, which if the columns are labeled something logical, it follows the logic. And I asked it a question that you would ask someone on your team or an analyst on your team, like, hey, can you go find me this data? And this is awesome. So it's calculating monthly sales and it's using a common table expression. So with, we've seen that as, and isn't it lovely? Now that we can read this, we can read this together. This is amazing. So select P.category. This is the date as month. Total sales, orders. We're going to join the tables and then we're going to group by the category and the month. Okay. And then sales with lag. Remember the lag function we did yesterday? This is all coming in. So category, the month, total sales, and a lag. They're doing a window function here. You can see with the previous month sales, partitioning by category, they're ordering by the month. So they're partitioning by category and then order by month as previous month sales. So they actually took monthly sales and they put it into, so this is a common table expression that refers to a common table expression. And then that comes up with the final query. Category month, total sales, makes sense. Previous month sales. And then they do a round function, which we haven't seen yet. This is kind of like another formatting function, like cast, a different kind of format. So rounding to probably second decimal place here. Total sales minus previous month sales. That makes sense. Divided by previous month. This is a month over month number. If you've ever seen a month over month sales number. So just, if you haven't, take my word for it. It's a total sales minus previous sales. That'll give you the gap between this month and last month. And then divided by last month. So that is, okay. And this is percentage change. Great. And then they do a case statement. Everything's coming together. They do a case statement. When total sales are less than previous sales, call it declining. We're just going to label it, which is logical, right? Anyone would say this month, less than last month, it's a declining month. And if it's not, else, stable or increasing. They actually could have done both, right? They could have said, is it increasing or is it stable? And then they're going to call that the sales trend column. Remember, this is one big column, basically. And they're using sales with lag, where previous month sales is not null, and they're ordering by category month. Oh, this is excellent. And you can see the explanation here. Does a great job. I'll let you read that. Take a second. Great. And we're going to copy this code and we're going to toss it in. If you cannot tell, I am legit having a great time. I'm excited about this information. Showing it to you makes it that much better, but this is outstanding. This is amazing. Wow, look at this query that you can read. And technically you could do too if you wanted to. But I mean, you have ChatGPT. Let's like collaborate. Wow. Look at that. So they order by category. So they order by the category name and then my month and then sales trend. So appliances are stable, increasing. Electronics have been declining for a couple months there, and then got to be stable. And furniture has been in a decline. And it seemed like they only had 2 months of sales, so we only had that much data. Amazing. This is truly amazing. Not a lot left to say after that. Not really a lot left to say. Just take a moment. Just appreciate. I am this person. I use a whole token for this. Thank you for this analysis. It's really great. It's really great. Yeah, I do. I mean, it's just outstanding. So take a moment, thank your GPT. You never know. If that didn't change your mind about learning SQL, using AI, and the joy that you're going to find in this whole process, we haven't gone to Excel. We haven't done Google Sheets. We haven't done some fancy analytic program, but you have just completed a complete course in SQL. And I dare say, with AI by your side and your knowledge, which you can do some really critical SQL, joins, you can do basics, select from where, you can group by, you can do analytics, count, sums, max, mins, you can do common table expressions, you can do window functions, and you can read it all and feel comfortable. And now you can supercharge your knowledge and your business insights with the GPTs of the world. Congratulations, you've completed SQL for Business Leaders. I'm Crystal Bray, the PTO coach. I'm so happy to be here instructing you through this course. It's been my honor and privilege. And if you've learned something, if you enjoyed this, leave a comment for someone else, please. And if you need more information later and need to recall something, get the cheat sheet. Yes, I asked for your email because I want to talk to you. Join our newsletter. It's been a privilege. Thank you. And we'll talk soon.